Just start the intro. Let's get through this. Rocky V is the fifth Rocky movie. It came out in 1990, and just like the last one, there you go, you guys are learning. It opens with a recap of the last movie. In this case, it's Rocky IV. So Rocky has just finished his fight with Ivan Drago. He's won the respect of the Russian people. Things are looking great again. He returns home to the States. He's reunited with his son, who apparently has aged 4 years in the few months he's been gone. Okay. And things seem to be looking really great, and Rocky has officially decided to retire, much to the encouragement of Adrian. However, the Balboa family suddenly loses all their money, and when I mean all their money, I mean all of their money to the point where they're broke. Rocky and his family have to move back to the slums of Philadelphia, where Rocky grew up, and then he starts taking in an up-and-coming boxer to try and train him to be the heavyweight champion like he was. Now, with Rocky IV, that was the Rocky sequel that I was really looking forward to see. Rocky V is the sequel that I was not looking forward to at all. I have heard so many negative things about this. Everyone hates this movie. Even Sylvester Stallone hates this movie. So I really had no plans to see it at all. But I can't really finish this whole review series unless I watch and review Rocky V. And when I went into this movie, I was expecting it to be on the level of Jaws the Revenge bad, where it's so bad in every single angle that it's almost unwatchable. And with Rocky V, I gotta say that I was not as disappointed as everyone else is. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is a bad movie, but it's not Jaws the Revenge level bad, where every single angle is just so stupid that you just want to facepalm your head every minute of the movie. This movie here really does try to go back to the roots and tone of the original Rocky. They try to make the character humble again. They throw him back on the streets. He even wears his same clothes. So I can really kind of see what they're doing. They even go the mile of bringing back John Avildsen, who directed and won an Academy Award for the first Rocky, to come back and direct Rocky V. And in little places, it does have some heartfelt moments, and some good aspects to it. There are some dramatic elements once Rocky has become broke that actually are effective, mainly when Adrian tries to convince him to just not go back to fighting because he's probably gonna die. Because in this movie they establish that he has brain damage. So those parts start to be heartfelt, but then they just go on for too long to the point where you go, alright, I get it, Rocky can't fight. Let's move on to something more interesting. Rocky's son here is played by Sylvester Stallone's real-life son, Sage Stallone, who actually, for a child actor and being related to an actor, does a really good job. He does have some personality to him. He's energetic, he's not dull. And watching this movie, it does make me rather sad that he died so young. But Sage Stallone did a good job. He was one of the better actors in this movie. Let's move on to what I didn't like about the movie, because, like I said, this is a bad movie. Aside from Sage Stallone, a lot of the other actors in this movie are just kind of bored or over the top. Sylvester Stallone tries to act the way he does in Rocky 1, but it's sometimes mixed with his performance from Rocky 4 to the point where it just feels kind of inconsistent. He has some tough guy moments, he has some humble moments. It's just kind of a messy performance at times, and there are a few moments where his humbleness can be a little annoying, probably because it's mixed in with the bland performance from Rocky 4. As for Talia Shire, she looks tired in this movie. Adrian ultimately has nothing to do except once in a while convince Rocky to not go back to fighting and just live the quiet life. And like I said before, at first it's effective, but after a while Talia Shire just kind of disappears from the movie. She only pops up on brief occasions and doesn't do anything, except once again say that Rocky can't go back to fighting. So it's kind of a waste that this is the last time we'd ever see Adrian in a Rocky movie, and this is what they do with her. Now, if you want to talk about over-the-top performances, let's talk about Richard Gant, who plays the boxing promoter Duke. how do I describe this guy? He has this weird, bizarre smile. His attitude is just way too cartoonish. And sometimes he has this look of something smells like ass throughout the movie. It's just such a bizarre performance. The only other movie I've really noticed this guy in was Jason Goes to Hell. And then I read somewhere that he had a tiny role in The Big Lebowski, but I'd be hard-pressed to remember what that role was. So this guy, I don't think is really well known, except for in this movie and all the really bizarre facial expressions that he makes. I mean, you could make a whole web page just to freeze frames of the weird faces that this guy makes. That's how over the top this guy is. Out of all the Rocky villains in these first 5 movies, Apollo may be full of himself, but he's still human. Clubber Lang may be very over the top and loudmouth, but you still hate the guy. Ivan Drago's just a muscular piece of wood with no personality. This dude is so over the top that you go, are you on drugs or something, man? You just gotta chill out. Now, this movie is more of a drama. Like the first 2 Rocky movies, it tries to bring back that feeling that those movies gave, especially the first one, where it's all about the character. And there are 2 problems with that. One of those issues is that the drama seems very forced. The way that the Balboa family loses all their money is not really elaborated at all. The only thing I really got from it was that it was Paulie's fault, which, by the way, why is Paulie still with the family? Paulie is that drunken uncle that after a while you send to the crazy house or you just send to live on his own. You don't keep him around. And by doing that, he was somewhat responsible for them losing all their money. I mean, truth be told, they said that they gave full control to the attorneys and the attorneys were dickheads. But this plot element just comes out of nowhere. You can point it back to Paulie as it being ultimately his fault, but you have to really dig deep into it and rewatch that segment again and again, because if you just watch the movie without rewinding, you go, how did the Balboa family lose all their money exactly? I don't know. It was Paulie's fault. Blame him. So the drama seems very forced. That's one aspect that I don't like. The second aspect is that it still has this really tough guy attitude that Rocky IV had. And it just meshes uncomfortably with the rest of the movie. There is a street fight at the end of this movie, which I'll admit is very entertaining, but it's entertaining in the same way that the lightsaber duel in The Phantom Menace was entertaining, where the rest of the movie is so boring that when this part finally arrives, you're like, okay, I'm awake. I'm gonna watch this right here. While the street fight is very entertaining, there is no meat to it, no substance you can grab onto it, and in the end, nothing gets resolved. Rocky's still broke. The guy he trained is still the heavyweight champ. So nothing really gets resolved at the end, and that just really begs the question, why does this movie exist? And ultimately, I just gotta say, Rocky V, while it does have some few good moments here and there, the drama's forced, it clashes uncomfortably with the tough guy attitude. The message of the movie is that, hey, fight your way out of a situation and it's all gonna be okay, which it's like, no, that's not a good message to have. Throughout the course of these Rocky reviews, by each movie, the rating has just went down a peg. The first Rocky movie I said, get off your ass and go see right now. The second one I said was worth seeing in your lifetime. The third one was good but not great. The fourth one I said to watch at your own risk. This one, I just gotta say, don't waste your money. I don't hate this movie like I did with Jaws the Revenge or King Kong Lives, just other franchise killers that I despise so much. But it's not good at all. This movie really has no reason to exist. And that's my review for Rocky V, and I've seen all the Rocky movies at last, but we still got one more review to go. Next week will be Rocky Balboa, and I can't wait to talk about that one. So, until next time, I hope you enjoyed this review. Leave a comment down below and tell me what your thoughts are on the movie, if and when you've seen it. And as always, this is the real Mr. Robinson telling you, there's only one.